Sigma Delta Lambda Sorority Incorporated, and these are my fellow co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Joann from Sigma Lambda Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Hello, everybody. I am Abdi, and I am from Delta Alpha Sigma Multicultural Sorority Incorporated.
Period. I feel like it's been so long since I've seen y'all. How are y'all?
Good. I feel
Slay.
like I've been sick, but I found my Crocs. I was looking for my. I'm sorry, this is off topic, but I was trying to find my Crocs for the longest, and I finally found them.
It's a good day then.
For
No,
real.
yes,
Have y'all already started midterms and all of that, or not yet?
no, not yet.
I don't
Must be nice. I have
see.
like so many. Like I took a quiz today, which I don't know how I feel about it. I told y'all a couple episodes ago that I'm in a grammar class, and this was like the first like assignment, like big assignment that we had, and I'm I don't know how I feel. But anyways, after my little tangent talk, so on today's episode, we're gonna be learning all about Joann, some about SLA, just about her personally. But first, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Greek conference. So Joann, you were the only one. April, did you go too?
No, I wasn't able to go.
Okay. So Joann, you were the only one who was able to go. So how was that experience there?
To be honest, I really, really liked it. I liked how they set up things. I think that was my first conference that I've ever been to. Like personally, I know I have went like for training for my work personally, and they did it completely different in how they did it, if that makes sense. But then also before going into it, I had a lot of people come up to me and recognize me from Greek Life for the podcast, and they're like, "Oh my god, like you're from the podcast, right, Joann?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Nice to meet you." And they're like, "Oh my god, can we take pictures?" And they were asking me a bunch of questions like why I did this, like what made me to do it, and all that. And I was like, "Oh, like I just want to get out of my comfort zone." Usually I'm always the person behind, like always like to talk in the sidelines, and I was like, I felt like this would give me a good like starter up to get me out of my how do I say it? Because I'm like always scared to speak like for presentation wise, and I was like, hopefully that gets me out of my shyness of it, and I'll be like, I can talk to anybody when I come into contact, like to my doctor, to my boss, to somebody that I haven't met officially or like I don't know yet. So I was like, hopefully that gets me out of my comfort zone, and it really has generally. And then I was like, once everybody was talking to me like back and forth, I texted DJ Dean like in the corner. I was like, hey, I was like, a lot of people are like recognize me from the podcast. I was like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, just be yourself. And I'm like, I am. He's like, it's okay. That's our goal. That we're trying to make people to recognize us when we're going to Greek events. And I was like, you're right, but
I was not ready.
yes, I don't. I generally I feel like it's a surreal moment when people come up to me and it's like, oh my god, I recognize you from somewhere, and you feel like, oh, you do. I was like, oh, I thought nobody would do it. And they're like, yeah, like actually, there was this one girl, I don't know her name. I'm really bad at names. But she actually listens to our podcast like when she's like doing chores and everything. That's what she told me. She will listen in the background and listen to our conversations. And she's the MGC president for TCU, if I'm correct. And I was like, oh my God, really? She's like, I really love your guys' conversations. You guys bring out good topics. She's like, I really love it. I like how the unity, yeah, unity, how it is there. She's like, I love to bring that. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm hearing from their perspective and how they enjoy it and what could be better. And I was like, oh, I was like, I love this so much. I was like, I like you wouldn't experience it. I felt like yeah, if you wouldn't experience if you were in it, if that makes sense. I genuinely like it because it gives me a new persona on what I can learn and grow from it. But yeah, but based off that question on the Greek conference, I really like it because it showed perspective that I needed to learn. There was this one workshop that we did. that it's like, okay, what can you do for your resume? It's like, okay, what do you do for your org? Okay, this is what you do. You do time management, you do events, you do bookings, you talk to people, recruitment week, and all that, right? And they're like, okay, what can you put that as your skills? And we check off our skills, and they're like, okay, let's compare the two lists. They're almost exactly the same thing, but you don't have it in your skills. So you can transfer that and explain a little bit more. They're like, yeah, like example booking. Yeah, you just did one booking to do for your event. But you can like emphasize like, hey, you know what? I gather a bunch of sisters, there are like 30 or 40 of us to go to this event, and I had to plan it this day. This is how I did in my itinerary. This is how I planned it. This is how I budget. I talked to treasurer, and they're like, that's what you can do in the job interview, but like not exaggerated, but like give it more information of what you do
Mhm.
behind the scenes that you wouldn't really say in a resume if you didn't know how to correlate both of them. And I was like, I did not know I could do that. And I was like, I think I should put that in my resume now when I go try to find internships or and stuff like that. So it gives me the opportunity to open my eyes a little bit more on what I have to learn. And I generally loved it. I loved a lot of seeing different fraternity and Greeks. I know a lot of people from Baylor actually came as well.
Oh.
So I was really surprised. I had one, I guess he was a fraternity. I don't remember which one he was, but he was like, yeah, like he was talking about his sorority, I mean fraternity, and what he was doing and how they're going on. I was like, oh my god, really? And he's like, oh, what about you? And I was like, oh, I'm from TWU. This is what we are, this is what we do, this is what we're kind of struggling with, like how would you do it? And me and him will bounce off from it. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, so we're not the only person that's struggling with
Mm.
a certain thing. They're like, yeah, no, we also are struggling as well. And I was like, oh, okay. Like different things that can correlate and I wouldn't understand if I didn't have that opportunity to go.
Mhm. That's awesome. So it sounds like, so if they were to do this again, like 'cause I wasn't there, but I guess I don't know if
Yeah.
this is gonna be like an annual thing you're gonna do. So you would recommend people going.
Yes, I really think it's a good perspective of it. I wish we had a little bit more breaks, but we're kind of under schedule. So that's the only thing, but I genuinely loved it so much. I wish more people came. It was a good amount, but I wish more like different sororities and fraternities came to see their different point of views on things, and it's like a free space that anybody can speak. I feel like also a lot of people are like kind of hesitant on speaking on certain things, and I feel like that is a good place to just rant and talk about on things that you kind of feel like your sorority or fraternity is lacking. And it's like, you know what, you're like, okay, well, let me just say it. And then another sorority or fraternity is like, well, I struggle with exactly the same thing. And they're
Mhm.
like, oh, so it's not just us.
You're like, you're not alone.
Yeah. And I feel like there was a lot of things that we talked about, and we're like, maybe we need to change some things. Maybe we need to find a different outlook on how we're going to communicate with others, or like stuff like that, that made us realize like what we need to fix on as a Greek community and ourselves as well. And I feel like that's a great opportunity that a lot of people should see and see, or they should try to do. I don't know. For me, I loved it personally.
Mm. Or were you gonna say something? I was like, okay. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, hopefully they do it again, and then, hopefully everyone who did go, they get to share their experiences with their own chapters, bring back the information, spread it out.
No, yeah. I think it was a big help for ours because there was a lot of things that like for social media, I know for our historian and our president, they went to that cinema,
Mhm.
or I don't know how to call it. It's called, but the little conference for that part, and she's like, "Oh my god, this is what we need to fix on with our social media. This is what we need to gain, like this and this." And she was so excited. I was like, I was like, okay, write that down so we won't forget, and we can about that in our general meetings that we have, and what we can fix and what we can do. And they're like, okay. So like I feel like that's a good thing to have.
Ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask this the next question here. Da, 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 da. So it says, "What is your major?"
So right, my majors right now is pre-nursing. I'm taking a minor of health studies. So hopefully, I did say it in the past. I took the T's. I did miss 6 points. So right now, I'm trying to get everything together to study for the T's, to do tutoring. Because I know for me personally, I can never study by myself. It's always so hard to do it, like learning wise. I don't know, my brain just works completely different when I'm by myself and when somebody's like, okay, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to learn and stuff like that. So that hopefully that helps me a lot. And then retake it, then hopefully in the long run go to the nursing program so I don't need to change my major. But yeah, that's my major right now. And my minor in health studies, I actually really like it. I'm taking epidemiology, medical terminology, intro to health studies, and health communications. So I really like those classes. It's something that I wouldn't expect to love so
Mm-hmm.
much, like doing.
I was gonna say, do you have any like tips for people who are also maybe taking those classes or like? Yeah, because I heard I know like a lot of like going classes going into like nursing or like pre-nursing is like really difficult. So is there
Hmm.
anything like that you like any tips that you have that like what helps you or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say personally, just take your time. Take
Mm-hmm.
your time on things, because like I don't know, I feel like it's not speaked enough about, like, yeah, like first generation or people who are going into nursing. It's like, oh, we need to be on track. Not a lot of people are on track if you really think about it, because a lot of people struggle on one thing. Like I know for me, I struggled a lot. It was microbiology lab, because so I'm dyslexic, so I can't spell certain words. And for me, I can't spell refrigerator right. I spell refrigerator, and they will
Mm-hmm.
take points off. So like I can't help that. And so it was a whole situation I wish I never had, but I had to find like a loophole what I need to do. But generally for like people who are in nursing, I would say try to find your study habits, or like try to make it better, because I know it's completely different, and how you would do like English classes, history classes, government classes, because you're taking up a lot of knowledge that you can't really dump, like memory dump, like you memorize everything and then you dump it the next day. You can't really do that, because like I know for anatomy, there's like the last test that it goes over everything. So like you can't really do that because you need it. You need all your information. So for me personally, I love what I do is like I have a little the review. I go over it and then I answer the questions and I go to the whiteboard and write it down and then erase it the questions I've done, rewrite the questions and to not look at the answers. And whatever I have left, I go back and do the answers.
Ooh.
Excuse me. And then I have somebody else quiz me. They're like, okay, go. And I was like, oh. But I feel like generally that helps a lot. And then looking at YouTube videos, it gives me engaged, because sometimes I just sit there and watching lecture and I'm like, yeah. And then I see my phone and I get tempted and I get so distracted. I'll be on TikTok for like an hour and I'm like, oh my god, I'm watching lecture videos. And but when I go to like a Pacific YouTuber I'm watching, or like one of my sisters sends me something and I'm like, okay, I can be engaged. I know what the information is. If I have something that I don't know, I write it down like in a little notebook, and then I go back to the question with my textbooks or anything like that, or ask a bunch of people who are in the class as well, like, hey, do you know this answer? I'm like, I know we don't know each other, but I kind of need to know. And they're like, yeah, like I'm exactly the same way. And then we're like, one brain is better than wait, two brains is better than one.
Mm-hmm. Totally
But yeah,
agree.
that's what I'll be doing.
I was gonna say your mic is muted, Savannah.
I unmuted it on the mic, but not on the StreamYard. But I was gonna say that that's nice, or that's cool that you like do it 3 ways to like make sure that you memorize it. So you like go through the exam and then you write it down and then you erase it and you write it down. and that's kind of like a way to like check your understanding too, like if you fill it in. But like, how do you think that your major is gonna help you in SLA, or how has your major already helped you like while being in SLA?
I feel like is the other way around. SLA helped me to go to my major
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, I'm not a person that would speak up that much. Like in the past, like I said, in microbiology lab, I didn't speak my own voice, telling the
Mm-hmm.
professor, like, hey, I have DSS requirements and you're not giving it to me. But now,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm very vocal. I'm a person that's like, hey, you know what? This is what I need to do. These are the steps I need, and I go for my background information. And I feel like also me being an exec board um, in SLA helped me a lot because they're like, okay, so we need to do this event, how we're going to do it, what questions will people have, what sisters we're going to ask, what loopholes can we fill in if a situation has happened. So that gives me like an understanding what I need to do in my life, or hopefully once I go become a nurse, because you need to have those questions when you are a nurse. You never know what's going to happen. Nothing's going to be um how do I say, nothing's going to be normal. So like what if they're hemorrhaging? You need to know what the next steps need to be. And you always have to be on your toes because you don't know if the person's going to be good and the next day they're not, or somebody comes in is like perfectly fine, and but there's a diagnosis that you have to give that person into. It's like, hey, I need to tell you something, and they're not going to take it well. So I feel like it gives me a good understanding how I can separate that and understand. It's like, okay, when I can be myself, but I can put myself in a professionalism. I don't know how to say it, but like a business point of view, and be like, hey, this is what I need to do. This is or this is what you need to do. This is what steps you need to take, and then what else. And I was like, I can give you also the information what you need, and if you need help on, just to contact me or contact your doctor. And I feel like that's a good thing that I know I would love to have once I become a nurse or once I go to the nursing program for my major. So I feel like I'm set on that part.
So I know you mentioned something about how with an exec position, right? So
Mhm.
I was gonna ask, okay, so what positions do you hold in your chapter, if any?
So right now I'm holding a position in treasure. So right now I'm doing all the fundraising that we're doing. I know we're doing a fundraising on October 10th at 12 a.m. to 4 p.m. if I'm correct. But we're doing like a Halloween cup candy thing. So they're gonna be like $4. Because I'm like right now, like I have it under my bed. Like I have the Halloween cups I got, and now I have like the little goodies that can be in there and little candies that a lot of people will get. So I'm excited for that. That's the only thing that I love doing, like little events like that. I don't know. It makes me so happy to do and see people's face like, oh my god, like they're like, can I just grab it? And I was like, well, yeah, you can, but you need to, you need to pay for it. And they're like, okay. And I was like, bet. So I really enjoy it. For me, money wise, I'm not the best, but I feel like this chair helped me a lot to manage and budget. And then also, like, I know our alum advisor helped me as well. Like, we do one-on-ones. I was like, hey, okay, so this is the amount we have. And I was like, this is how much we spent. And I was like, I know we have a budgeting format, but I was like, but I feel like it could be better. How can we do it better? And we do those one-on-one things. And I feel like what I learned from my position, I can put it into my life as well. It's like, okay, I get this amount of money from work because I get paid bi-monthly, not weekly, not uh bi-weekly. I get paid by month. So I'm like, okay, I have to do this budgeting like for groceries. Okay, going out, unessential things like going to like buying something from Amazon, and then like for food wise. And I feel like this chair helped me a lot from budgeting because I always had a problem with it because like my instinct is, oh, I can work that off later, like girl math, basically. But it's like the thing is, I to have money just in case if anything happens, and that chair helped me a lot this semester, and what I need to do for my like budgeting wise as well.
That's nice that you're like able to connect your own like personal life to like SLA or like vice versa. Because I always see things and I'm like, I could use this in every day. So I
Hmm.
like, I don't know. I've never been treasurer because I'm not good with money at all either. So, oh no. But I'm asking the next question. What is your zodiac sign?
I'm a Taurus. I feel like a lot of
Mm,
people say like I kind of match it because I don't know.
mm.
I never get mad, but when I do, I get really mad. Like you can tell in my face. Like my boyfriend says or my family says, like I think I'm gonna say it so bad. Just like you like in Spanish, right? But I'm gonna say in English, like you have the face of a donkey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And they're like, "Yeah, stop being mad." I was like, "Okay." And I have my old right, like the elastic side eye, or like I roll my eyes too much, or you can see my face like change completely, and I'll be happy, and then I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like, are you serious? Like, what?" But yeah, that's my sign. I'm a Taurus. Um, what else does Taurus do? Money wise, I feel like I used to be good at it. I'll say that for sure, but not anymore. I think once college came up to me and like intuition comes and then like stuff I want comes into play in a different aspect. But I think that's all about tours and how they're really nice and that's it. But yeah.
I say, are you big with like zodiac signs? 'Cause I know there's some people who are like very like, oh yeah, zodiac signs, and so you're just like, oh okay, like where are you on the spectrum?
Well, I'll say I know like the main ones like Scorpio, Libras, not that much about Capricorn, but like the people who I with, generally like my best friend, boyfriend, or my sisters, I know their zodiac signs and I know like the characteristics of them, but everything else I don't know. So I'm kind of like in the middle, like yes and no. I know I have a sister, she's an alum, her name is Nancy, and she's into zodiac sign. Like she's like, okay, give me your date of birth, what time you were born. She's like, I can figure out like the astrology signs and like all the stuff. And I'm like, what? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, like I got you. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, let me read. And I was like, this is into depth. I don't like this. And I'll be like,
Yeah, that's a little too much.
yeah. I'm like, you don't even go into my past like that. I'm like, chill.
Okay, so here the next one. Okay, so what are your pet peeves?
Ooh. Ooh. Oh. I don't know. I think this is like my pet peeves and like guys in general, or like I guess girls do it sometimes. But when they think they're a know it all.
Ooh, I know
Like,
someone like that. Yeah.
yeah, and they're like or they're like they try to act like they're who they're not supposed to be, like high and mighty. And I'm like, bro, your ego's up here and you're actually down here. Go to match that level, please. I'm like, that's where you need to be at. And I was like, because you're giving this and you're giving this is what you actually give. Like, how does that make sense? There's a big gap between it. And I was like, no. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves when I see about somebody and I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna judge you. I'm gonna give you all the love that I can give. But I'm a person that's very straight up. I'm like, this is what you need to bring to the table. I'll bring this, but I like no. And I'm like, mm-mm. And they're like, okay, I understand. What else? It's another pet peeve. My mom does this. She does this a lot, and she knows I hate it. Um, she chews with her like she eats gum and she chews with her mouth open, and I'm like,
Mm,
that's like the biggest. I don't know. It's like my ears hurt when I hear that, and I'm like, bro, close your mouth. And she's like, yeah, and I'm like,
Like,
I was like, Ma,
mom.
I'm like, Ma, and I was like, I understand you're chewing gum, but close it. And she's like, why you gotta be so sassy or mean? And I'm like, close it. You already know I don't like that. And she's like, no. And I was like, excuse me? And she's like, my gum, my choice. I was like, oh no. And I'll be walking. She's like, don't walk away from me. Like in the middle of Target or like Walmart. And I'm like, I don't know that lady.
I can't deal
I,
with it right now.
no, I was like, no. What other pet peeves I have? Um, oh, fabric. I'm very particular on fabric because I used to do sewing when I was in middle school, and technically graduated when I went to college. So when I finished high school, so I used to design clothes and make clothes, and I did a bunch of that when I was younger. And my sewing teacher, Miss Martha, she was like, I don't like this fabric. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, this is cheap. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right, it's cheap. And so since I know like how like which one is polyester, which one's cotton, which one is linen and all that, like every time I go to like to a shop or like I go shop around with my sisters, even my sisters know like I can't, like the moment I touch something and I hate it, I was like, oh no. And they're like, but it's so cute. Like this is like it will be perfect. I'm like, why would I wear something that I know that my skin is gonna feel weird and it's not gonna last long? I was like, I'm sorry, but I was like, I love you guys. If you want that, go ahead, but not me personally. Like, oh, I hate it. Like, I don't know how to express it so bad. Like, even my boyfriend said, like, he's like, now I'm particular on fabrics because I taught him like which fabrics to get, and he's like, I can go back. And I was like, exactly, that's the point. And like there's only particular stores that I love so much that has like the fabric that I love. Like my big actually showed me this store, Francesca's. It's a little expensive. I'm not gonna lie, but when you go to the discounts, that's where it is. So like I got this dress. It was like all hearts. Oh, my thing is my favorite shape is a heart. That's my favorite thing. Like everything with hearts I have to get. So I found this dress and I was like, "Oh my god, it's so cute." And they're like, "What about the fabric?" And I was like, "I don't need to worry about the fabric here." I was like, "It's all good." But like when I go to H&M, like that's my boyfriend's favorite store. I was like, I touched something and I was like, "No, do not get this." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Bro, I was like, I can already by the touch, I can tell this fabric is see-through." And he's like, "No, it's not." I was like, "Go look at the light." And he's like, never mind. I'm gonna look somewhere else. And I was like, yes, please. I was like, it's not gonna last too long. Like, we go somewhere. We can find somewhere else. And he's like, ugh. And he does his little pouty like walk. And I was like, whatever. You're gonna forget it like a month later.
Okay, so she's an educated queen over her fabrics. Okay, so next time when we're gonna go shopping.
No, it's so bad. Like, bro, like when I say it's bad, my mom hates it. Cause I remember when I was little, or like a couple years ago, or every time I go shopping with her, um, I will like if we go to a store and I will walk around for an hour, find nothing, and she's like, "What's the point of going in there?" And I was like, "You know what? You're right. Never go to this place again." It's so bad sometimes.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know that, but that's tight. I was like, what got you into like? 'Cause I know you said so in high school. That's when you did sewing, correct?
I did through middle school, through high school.
Mhm.
Yes.
And what got you into that? Like, what was it like? Like what caught your attention?
I don't remember like why I wanted it. I think it's from I call her my tia Mati, that she was so, that's what my mom would say. Like I never knew why I love sewing, but she said that when I was little, that she would take care of me. And I would see her sew all the time, that she's like fixing clothes or making clothes. And I always watch her. And then since I was younger, I always was fascinated to do sewing. And at the time, I'm basically telling you my life story, but I was at church choir at the time, and there was a mom with a daughter that did sewing classes around the area. and it's like not like through a school or anything. It's like their own self business. And she's like, I go to this Miss Martha. It's called So Fashionable for Girls. They do this pricing. If your daughter wants to try it out, go ahead. Like my daughters go over here. We love this teacher. We love her daughter who teaches as well. Like just see if Joann would love to try. And then once I got into it, I fell in love with it. Like I never left. I swear to you, you can ask that Miss Martha all the time. It's like, how was well, I go by Jennifer over there. So like, oh, how is Jennifer? And she's like, oh, like every time she get out for school, she's always there for 3 hours. I'll be like there till 6 to 10 or to 1 p.m. just like doing stuff personally. I think that's how I got into it.
Into it. That's tight. Okay, so oh, okay. Next question. Okay, what are your strengths?
I think talking to people one on one. I think that's what it is. Like once I get comfortable, um, like I said, I can talk to me to me colos. Like I can talk so much for no reason, and I'm like, or a listener. I'm a good listener. I'm like, okay. I'm like, go, hand me your problems. I'll listen. And they're like, okay, so this is happening. I'm like, mm-hmm. I was like, how do you guys fix that? Like having their own like free therapist, and I'm like, okay, let's see
I
what we
got you.
can work on. That let's see what else are my strengths. Hmm. That is a good question. I feel like I'm being interviewed, like for a job. They're like, okay, what's your best strengths? Huh? Hmm. I guess communication wise, I know sometimes I'm not the best, but I feel like that's the good part. Like if you communicate with me, I can communicate with you. It's like if we keep on constant contact, like I'm gonna be back and forth with you no matter what. Like like I guess like with DJ Dean, like when he asks us a bunch of stuff, and like I'll be like, oh, I'm too scared to text on the group chat, and I'll be like, okay, this is what we're doing, and this and this and this, and he's like, okay, Joanne, but he's like, but you can text on the group chat, and I was like, I know, I was like, I don't know, you think I'll bend on when I do that, and I was like, I'll text you separately, and then I'll text the group chat.
Like here you go.
Yeah. What else? My good strengths. Notes, no.
That's
I'm trying.
funny that you say that you like to text him separately. Um, I get anxious when I text him privately.
Really?
Like I'm like, hi, sorry to bother you, but like here's the description, here's this. It's just like I don't know. So that's funny that we're like backwards because I'm like I would
Yeah.
prefer to text him like in the group chat. So that's
Mhm.
but anyways, continue.
No, you did. No, for the group chat, I don't know. Like, I think that's what gets like in my little anxiety. Like presentation wise, I feel like that's also like a presentation. Like a lot of people are like there in the group chat, and I'm like, what? I was like, I'd rather talk to them one on one. But oh, my question. What other strengths do I have? Mm. I think that's all the strengths that I have personally.
Mhm.
I think they're good
Hey,
ones too.
they are good. Hey, keep it up.
Right?
Okay, so I was gonna say, so I do see you have on the back some spooky. You're getting into the spooky
Oh, this
season.
way. Yes. Oh, my favorite season actually, my favorite season is summer.
Oh,
I just don't like the heat in Houston. It's because it's like it's not dry heat over here. It's like humidity, rain, and on top of that, with the scorching hot of the degrees of like 100 and something around the area that you have to deal with. Like if I'm over here in the summer, I'm perfectly fine. I can wear my jeans and a cute top. But when I'm in Houston, I had to wear some booty shorts and a tank top and put my hair up. That's two completely different summers right there. But I didn't really like it summer because it brings me back to my childhood. I used to be in a swimming team, and what my parents, well, my mom will bring me and my brother, and then we had a group of like childhood friends that were exactly in the same swimming team, and we would go and do like we would compete with other like neighborhood I don't know how they call it, but we will compete and like we will be eating ice cream, like eating sandwiches with chips and stuff like that. And that brings me into that mindset like, oh, summer's time for relaxing and not worry about nothing. I think
Oh,
that's my favorite season out of all of them.
I think were you
That's
gonna
it.
say something? Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness. I keep like unmuting. I keep muting this mic and then unmuting this mic. And then when I try and talk here, it's been a day. But my that's I forgot my train of thought, guys. I'm so sorry.
You're good.
But we're gonna do a little rapid fire. Who's your role model and why?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't think I have a role model. Is that bad to say?
It's okay. I was like, it'll come up. Maybe it'll come up to you later.
No. I guess like if I really think about it, it's my dad. Cause my he when I say he came from nothing, like homies, like my grandma would make their clothes. Like they couldn't buy like t-shirts, jeans. My grandma had to buy fabric to make his clothes. And like imagine like him basically that it wasn't even bricks. It was I don't know how to explain it, but I've seen some pictures that my grandma had that I saw when I went to Ecuador. Like they came from nothing, and for them to like help me provide for my college and have like be an electrician and have his not degree but his licenseship and like the way he has his house and how he can financially help me and my brother and my mom, it's like a thing that I want to gain as well. Like I know I'm not gonna start for like how he did, but like
Mhm.
at least for him to help me where I can be, because I know if he wasn't financially ready, I wouldn't have the things I have now. Because with my well, I guess my disability, it's not gonna take me far.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, like that. Because like if he didn't pay for tutoring, if he didn't help me pay for like special classes I needed, I wouldn't be here. Basically, like I wouldn't be in college. I would have been somewhere else that I could have basically taken two routes, and he helped me get in the right route, more faster, more acceptable,
Mhm.
where he wants to see his own daughter to go and like even his own son. And I think that's the biggest role model that I have is my dad.
Aw, that's cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question.
Hmm.
Okay, so what is your ethnicity?
Yes, so I'm Ecuadorian. So my both of my family, like I said, they are. My mom is from Ecuador as well as my dad. And so all my family is from over there. They're from Quito or they're from the around the area. So it's like it's very small, very, very small compared to Colombia, Peru, Venezuela. Like they're like decent, and then there's Ecuador. It's like right there. It's small. So I love it. Yeah, but that's my ethnicity. All my family's from there. My dad, well, basically my family, so it's me, my dad, my brother, and my mom are the only family that are from the US. But yeah.
What do you call it? I think I remember you for your the showcase. You had your little flag, right?
Yes, hold on.
She's like, it's right here.
It's right here. It's small. I have a bigger one in Houston. Like I have it like hanged up. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's my little flag. I have. They didn't
Hey,
have my
please.
flag in the storage, and I was like, you know what? I have my own little flag at home in my dorm here. I was like, don't worry, I'll bring it. I'm going to represent myself. And I was like, don't worry. And they're like, okay. And I was like, it doesn't matter if it's small, it's what I represent.
There you go. Exactly.
There you go.
You're still meeting homegirl?
Sorry. And then, so why did you go to TWU?
I think because when I went to orientation here, I felt like it was home. Like something told me I was like, you have to go here. Like, cause I went to UTA as well, and I was like, oh, I like it. But like when I went to TW, because I went to UTA orientation, and then I went to TW the next day, and I was like, I love TW. I was like, I don't know if it's small. I was like, the people are very welcoming, and I don't know. And then like I went to Baylor as well, just to like see if I would like to go there, because I know they had a good nursing program over there as well. But I didn't feel comfortable there at all, because I feel like compared to everybody else, like I sticked out like a sore thumb, like especially my dad, because he's way more darker than me. So they're like I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like I can be myself. And then when I went to TW, I saw a lot of people were exactly like me, first gen. They had exactly the same questions. Um, like I didn't know how to do financial aid at that time, and they're like, you know what? We'll pull you off to the side and help you. And I was like, that is so much helpful. I was like, because back home they wouldn't help me that much, or like we had questions, but we didn't know how to like reach out. Well, I didn't personally. I don't know if we did. Some people did at that time, but that helped me a lot. And then like I don't know, the environment around made me feel like I can see myself living here for a very long time. And it's like even though it's like 5 hours away or 4 hours away from my house, it's like I can I don't know how to explain it. Like in my guts, like I know I'm gonna be here. I know I can make friends here. I can make my second life here. Like I can see it. And I was like, you know what? Here's my application. And they denied me the first time. I'm not gonna lie, they denied me. I was legit gonna stay home and do my little community college back home, just like crying inside my room. But I did my second application because my dad's like, you know what, you finish high school, you got another like I don't know what they're called. There's like four different like English, science, STEM, something like that. And then my counselor at that time added like something health because I did pharmacy tech. So they added that, and then he's like, "Well, you got that under your high school diploma and everything." He's like, "Just apply again, just in case. You never know." And I was like, "It's money to send applications." And he's like, "I know." He's like, "Just do it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "If they deny me," I was like, "You have to buy me food." And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "That's a cheap option." I was like, "Okay, bet." And then I sent them my application, and right away I got in. So I was like, oh, I was like, it's like, okay. So we had to go to school in October. I don't know my months on. So I think it was a month before that. So that's when I knew, like late
Hey.
admissions. So I was like, after that, I was like, Mom, we have to go to like to stores to buy a bunch of stuff for my dorm. And she's like, okay, let's go. And I was like, it was like a whole thing that I really loved. And like the environment there just made me want to be there. Like I was very sad personally because I couldn't go to TW. And like that's how I knew I wanted to go there. Like with other applications I sent out, I was like, if I didn't go, I didn't go. But when I saw the applications I didn't went to TW or I didn't got accepted, I was like, oh, like I cried. I cried so bad, and my dad's like, just try again. And that's how I knew I wanted to go there.
Aw. Hey, at least you found your home. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so next thing. Okay, if you could have lunch with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh. Oh, that's a good question. Like, hmm.
I mean, it doesn't have to be lunch. It could be dinner, breakfast,
I
brunch.
know. I know. I'm like thinking what would I eat and who I would talk to and talk with that. Like would I get like Mexican food, or would I get Greek food, or like Korean barbecue? And I'm thinking that in my head. And I was like, okay, where would I eat? And then who would I pick?
So it's two in
Uh,
one.
Maybe flip
exactly.
it. Maybe pick the person who eat with, and then where would y'all go? Think
Mm.
of it that way, because like whoever you pick, obviously you're gonna pick a different food. Like obviously you're not gonna take Taylor Swift to go get like Mexican food. You're gonna take her to go get a
Yeah.
burger and some wings. You're gonna take her to Pluckers or somewhere. So like think of it that way. I think that
Ooh.
would be an easier way to think about it.
Hmm. Who would I take? Like I guess like since you got me idea like of a celebrity, I'll take Russ like to a nice restaurant.
Ooh.
He's a good one. I would take him.
Right.
He's a good one.
Cause like I don't know. Generally, I listened to him since I was like I think beginning of high school, into middle school. So I like listen to him like deeply when I'm sad, depressed. I need to like get my stuff together. I listen to him and I'm like, let me crank that up. But I would talk to him, take him to if I have money, I'll take him to a nice restaurant or like a restaurant that he wants to go to, and I'm like, okay, so tell me your story. I want to know. I want to know you in depth. I was like, I listen to you. You make my heart feel like so impactful, so beautiful. And I was like, I want you to feel that with me. Let's have a conversation on 101.
That's funny that you mentioned wrist, because I literally like on my shelves. I don't know if I've ever like shown you outside of my apartment, but
Mhm.
like what piece of my decor is his book that he put
I
out.
love that.
Oh, I love that man. Like I hope that one day I'm able to go see him. But he's a good one. But I feel like if I were to hang out with Russ, I would like go to McDonald's with him and get some chicken nuggets. Have a
Hmm.
parked car conversation with Russ. I feel like those are his vibes.
Yes, to
Or
be
like
honest.
the nicest, fanciest, like what's Nobu? Is that one of the
Oh,
like super fancy restaurants?
yeah.
It's either McDonald's or Nobu. Because I feel like I don't
There's no
know,
between.
there isn't one. Cheesecake Factory. Um, but so that's it. He's a good one to pick. If I were to pick a celebrity, I think I don't know who I would pick. Like, is it for my personal gain? Is it just so I can fangirl
Exactly.
over them? Like, you know. But anyways, so what has been the what has been the biggest lesson that Greek life has taught you so far?
Ooh, I think it taught me a lot. I think what for sure would stick through me, like looking back, is friendships. Or like how you can legit talk to somebody from a different org or like sorority or fraternity and like you just click and that's your new friend or like best friend that you never expect that you would have. It's like I wouldn't expect myself if I wasn't in like I wouldn't know myself if I, well, let me reword this. If I didn't went to Greek life and I didn't do this podcast, I wouldn't see myself doing this. Like I wouldn't like put myself the next step to do it. Like I was like, oh, you know what, we can do something like this, but never do it at the end of the day. But since I'm in Greek life and like it shows me different opportunities on, you know what, just get out of your comfort zone. It's fine. Like everybody does it and they're gonna fall, but they're gonna always gonna come back up as well. And I feel like that's one of the things I have learned is to get out of my comfort zone and meeting great people that I would not expect to meet that would change my life.
Last one. How would you say that the podcast has like helped you or shaped you? Sorry, guys, my dog.
No, you're good. My cat's in the background too. So, um, I think I've already said this. Like the period is that I think speaking to people that I wouldn't expect, like, of course, like that was like my last question, but I feel like now, like, if somebody randomly comes up to me, it's like, hey, like, oh my God, like, I seen your podcast, or like, oh, can I just be a guest, or like questions about anything, I'm like very, very confident now to speak about it. I'm like, you know, like, of course, there's going to be anxious. I'm going to be scared. Everybody's going to feel like that at one point in their life. It's exactly the same thing. Everybody's gonna have those feelings. But like since like I got used to it and now I'm like, okay, like I know what to say, I know what to do, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like this is what we do. Like if you have any questions or like this how I feel about certain situations, like we talked about this, this, and this. If you want to come on here and talk about a certain topic, like we would love for you to come over here. Just contact us or contact DJ Dean, and we can communicate with that with you a lot. And I feel like just I guess it's kind of like public speaking in a way that brought me into what I can say and not being shy about it. Because I know for me, sometimes I say like I mess up a word or I can't say a certain word, and I feel very ashamed that I can't do that. And since I did this podcast, I was like, you know what? Who cares what I'm gonna say? Who cares and what how I speak and how I pronounce things because we're all human at the end of the day, and everybody loves the content. Everybody loves a bunch of things that we do, and they well, like, of course, we're gonna always have some negative comments, but it's like the positive comments overweigh the negative comments at the end of the day.
Mm. Clap, clap, clap. Yes, exactly. Hey, I bet there's someone out there, probably listening to that. They probably can relate to that too. So you know what, like, spot on.
Thank you.
But for real, and thank you so much for being so honest about like all of that. I'm about to grab my dog so that way I can show y'all the person that's in charge of all of my distractions today. No one here with me, and usually there's someone to like entertain him. I feel like he falls asleep. I feel a lot of energy, so I'm gonna grab him real quick.
Sounds
Yes.
good. Sounds good. Well, while Savannah goes and grabs her puppy or her dog, I was like,
Mhm.
is there anything you want to leave off with before we end the podcast? Or
Uh,
anything about yourself that you're like, you know what? Let me add this little, like, quick little thing about myself.
oh, and every podcast, like how Savannah has her dog, I have my cat right next to me all the time. So it's like she's right there.
Hello, kitty. Or hello,
She's
cat.
always yeah, she's always there, like all the time, every time we do a podcast. So that's a little fun fact.
For all them people who love cats.
Oh, the dog! I can see you. Oh. And you're mute.
Okay,
Ruff,
guys,
ruff.
this is Jack. He's a mini wiener dog. We got him in July, so he's only a couple months old, but he is so bad and he has so much energy. So, this is him. If y'all ever hear any barking, this is who's doing it. You want to say something to him, Jack?
Oh,
Oh, TJD stuff, you did not see that. Good job.
he said a little shoe time for to eat real quick.
But anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead. So thank you, Joann, for talking to us. Obviously, you're on the podcast, so you have to talk to us. But thank you for answering our questions, and that just like ends the episode. So thank you so much for tuning in. Um, Feel free to leave any comments or feedback because we greatly appreciate it. And as always, you can watch this anywhere. No, you can watch this on YouTube and you can listen to it anywhere where you enjoy podcasts. And if you want to keep up with us, our Instagrams are down below. Um, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.